The autumn chill sliced through Willow Creek like a forgotten debt, and Sarah Jenkins stood on that dusty bus stop with nothing but a worn suitcase and a secret she'd buried deep. At 34, she'd mailed Thomas Whitaker a photo not hers, but her late cousin's, slim, youthful, and picture-perfect. Sarah's own figure filled her modest dress in ways that turned heads and sparked whispers back in Boston. She knew the risk when she boarded that Greyhound, but a widow with mounting bills makes tough calls. Thomas, the town's slick banker, sized her up as she stepped off, his eyes sharp as ledger entries. "You're not the woman in the picture." The accusation hung in the crisp air, drawing stares from every local milling about. Sarah felt the sting of their scrutiny, the weight of her deception exposed under the harsh afternoon sun. What happens when a fresh start turns to ash? What cost does one white lie demand? This was deceit, plain and ugly, Thomas declared in the diner lobby, his voice booming like a foreclosure notice. Mail order matches demand honesty about everything looks included. Sarah's face burned, but she held her ground. She'd endured worse than a smug financier's rejection. The agreement was for a bride of sound morals, not a beauty queen. Morals? Thomas scoffed, cold and cutting. A liar from the start lacks any. That's when she noticed him, the mechanic in the shadows, his gaze steady amid the spectacle. Jack Harlan was a tower of rugged muscle, his right arm inked with faded tattoos from his army days, a scar tracing his jaw. Most folks averted their eyes from the drama. He stepped in. "Issue here, Whitaker." Jack's tone was even, but it carried weight. Thomas adjusted his tie. "None of your concern, Harlan. This is between me and the Latta contract's void. Lady deserves better than a public shaming." Sarah's heart flickered not with thanks, but kinship. This stranger's presence felt solid, unyielding. He offered his arm, and she took it, a spark jumping in the contact. She'd forgotten the feel of genuine support. "Jack Harlan," he said plainly, "and you're not the first to hit reset in Willow Creek." Outside, leaves swirled like unspoken regrets. Sarah clutched her coat. "Guess I'll book a ticket back east." "Boston." Jack's breath fogged the air. "Long haul, just a bail. No options left." Whitaker made that clear, not his type. Something flashed in Jack's eyes. Whitaker wouldn't spot real if it smacked him. Sarah cracked a smile despite the mess. When had anyone sparked that? "School's short a teacher," Jack added. "Kids from the logging families could use one. Pays decent, and Mrs. Ellis runs a clean boarding house." Sarah eyed him warily. "Why help a total stranger?" "Maybe because I get rebuilding from scratch." His inked hand brushed his chest. "Service teaches you about fresh starts." His words hinted at buried pain, raw but real. She'd take truth over polished facades any day. "I'd have to earn it." You stared down Whitaker in front of half the town. "That's grit enough." Wind howled as they walked, Jack matching her pace, shielding her from the gusts. Small acts, but they hit hard after years of neglect. The school was a sturdy brick building on the outskirts, desks scarred from generations. Jack lit the furnace, warmth chasing the chill. Kids show when logs allow, but parents push for better. Sarah traced the chalkboard. She'd volunteered at community centers back home before her husband deemed it unseemly, before she'd shrunk to fit his mold. Last teacher, what a Forrester, bolted quick. Firelight carved Jack's features sharply. Silence stretched, broken only by crackling flames and rattling windows. "Why, really?" Sarah asked softly. His eyes met hers. "Judged for scars?" "I know that tune." The vulnerability tightened her throat. When had anyone seen her without critique? 2 months in, Sarah learned hope could bite back. Mornings with loggers' kids built her confidence. Afternoons prepping lessons. Evenings at Mrs. Ellis's, dodging thoughts of the mechanic who'd opened this door. But Jack had a knack for showing UPA bucket of oil for the squeaky door, fixing the leaky roof. "Afternoon, Ms. Jenkins." His voice pulled her from grating. Snow dusted his jacket as he stoked the fire. "Gets brutal after dark." He lingered, eyes on her. Thoughtful, but tension simmered, proper yet electric. Always with chaperones Mrs. Ellis or a student, but it built like pressure in a valve. "Sarah," she said one day, testing his name. "Jack, you don't need to, I want to." The admission stole her breath. When had care felt voluntary. That night, bad news knocked. Thomas Whitaker at the boarding house, hat in hand, feigning remorse. "Sarah," I rushed to judge. Mrs. Ellis poured coffee stiffly as he pitched. Town needed a banker's wife for his counsel, ruin a woman with presence. "You've settled well. Let's try proper courtship." But his gaze appraised her like inventory. Calculation, not warmth. Certainly not the fire she'd sensed in Jack's stares. "Need time." He grinned, smug. "Don't dawdle. Security's key out here." Sarah paced the school later, mind racing. Jack found her. Heard Whitaker's circling. Proper courtship. And you. The question mattered. "I want to feel. Vital." Words too raw. Jack rose, eyes locked. "Sarah, I know it's wrong. You're just kind." He closed the gap, hand on her cheek. "Kind? Nothing kind about this." She kissed him, his lips hungry, whirled from her ex's duty-bound pecs. Jack kissed like survival, hands exploring with awe. She melted into it, feeling desired curves and all. Footsteps yanked them apart. Thomas's voice, "Sarah?" Jack vanished into the shadows as she feigned work. Thomas entered, suspicious. Late hours? His hand claimed her shoulder. Alone's risky, especially with Harlan lurking. The slur crawled her skin. He's respectful. Grip tightened. Doubt it. Morning brought scandal. Someone spotted Jack leaving. Whispers dogged Sarah, shameless, Boston trash. Respectability shredded over one kiss. At the garage, their eyes met across tools. Heat undeniable. "Mistake," Sarah whispered. Jack's jaw clenched. "Don't let them shame you. It ruins everything." What? Scraping for Whitaker's crumbs. Truth stung. At least security. A gilded trap. Afternoon. Thomas arrived with flowers and demands. Mary meaned the talk. Roses pristine, scentless like him. "You're kind, but practical. Reputation's toast without me. Board meets soon." My word sways. Hands possessive. Expectations. Obedience, discretion. Duties. Clinical chill. Door binge Jack, furry etched. Hands off. Thomas released, sneering. Private, Harlan. "Not now." Sarah chose. "No." Thomas's rage flared. "Regret this." Alone, Sarah sagged. Ruined. Jack knelt. Saved. Ow. Choose. Fight for us or flee. What us? He pulled her up, kissing her. Hands worshipped her form, murmurs of beauty. Voices interrupted, leaving them disheveled, alive. Thomas struck surgically. Board probed her morals. Mrs. Ellis got complaints. Store shunned her. Ultimatum, wed him or exile. Sarah clutched the letter in the empty school. Jack read, fuming. Bastard. Legal. No right to cage you. Then, silence, then, marry me. Heart leaped, mind balked. Not pity. Real. You wake me from numbness. Tears fell. I'm not that photo. You're the one who quickens my pulse. If wrong, wrong together. Door crashed Thomas, livid. Touching. But Harlan, evicted lone called. Sarah froze. Can't. Bank's mine. Sheriff Luke Branson entered, snow-flecked, with loggers' parents of her students. Private. Thomas snapped. Town talk spreads. Logger Mike Torres advanced. Heard about skimmed funds. Thomas paled. Lies. Branson held a ledger. Ms. Jenkins flagged it bookkeeping smarts. Small thefts from workers, funding his flops. Stealing to prop failures, Sarah accused. Thomas snarled. Meddler. Jack lunged. Mike punched first. For my kid's future. Branson. Arrested for embezzlement. Quiet descended. Sarah, in Jack's arms. Over. Good part starts. Spring bloomed in Willow Creek like renewal. Sarah watched from their cabin porch as Jack tended the garden they'd sown. For months, we'd simple, Justice of the Peace ceremony. Town witnessing two survivors unite. No frills, just vows under open sky. Thomas rotted in the state pen, schemes buried. Bank reformed, funds restored. Sarah's hand on her belly knew life stirring. She'd tell Jack tonight, in bed, his inked arms gentle. Deep thoughts. He grinned, dirt-streaked. Good ones. He pulled her close. Love you, Sarah Harlan. Even dangerous? Especially behind. Home filled with shared books, a bed of passion and peace. Ahead, seasons of trials, love chosen over ease. The Heartland tested them, bearing truth they were flawed folks finding flawless bond. What do you think of Sarah and Jack's journey? Drop a comment below sharing your take. Did Sarah's initial lie justify the drama? Or was Thomas's power play the real villain? Take a stand on the tough choices they faced and let me know your views.